Do you think HHS should employ anyone who has endangered the health of children?
No.
You hired David Geyer to lead autism research at HHS, an individual who fraudulently posed as a doctor and gave dangerous medications and medical tests to children with autism. According to the state of Maryland's investigation, David Geyer, who has no medical license or training, gave hormone blocker injections to children with autism who were as young as 8 years old, which the Maryland Board of Medicine said poses a substantial risk of harm. Secretary Kennedy, yes or no, will you fire David Geyer?
First of all, what you're saying is not true. And we did not hire David Geyer to manage autism research at HHS.
So
And
what is
just-
his job?
and-
What
and-
is his
and
job
you
then?
just said some very defamatory
Well, no,
things about a person who, by the way,
so let me just be clear for the record.
those charges, Senator, I am going to correct the record on
No,
this
let
because
me
you
just
have defamed
let
a
me tell you
person.
what the record says, and then I will hear from you. Last week, when Mr. O'Neill was here in his confirmation hearing, I submitted for the record the charge that the state of Maryland laid out. Now, if you'd like also for me to submit to the record with unanimous consent today, the findings of the state of Maryland, which fined him $10,000 for practicing medicine without a license. He does not have a medical license, and for providing and instructing and giving children hormone blockers. That is what the finding of the Maryland Department, the state of Maryland, its medical licensing board was. And I'll submit that for the record, I hope with unanimous consent.
I'm assuming that you don't know what I'm about to tell you, or you wouldn't say something that was so dishonest. You may or may not know that David Geyer sued the American.
Oh, I do know that. I do know that. That doesn't
And that
change
he
the
ran-
findings,
and that- and
nor does
that-
it, nor
that
does it
finding
change the
was
experience of the parents
But that
who
finding-
testified.
That finding was reversed by court, and he was awarded $5 million.
That
against
is
American-
not true. Now,
That
let
is
me
absolutely
ask,
true.
so I just want confirmation. David Geyer is still at HHS. I wrote you a letter
David
about this a
Geyer
month
was-
ago, and you have not responded.
Well, I apologize for that. That's our bad. And I will respond. But David Geyer is not managing autism research.
So
at
what
my
is his job?
agency,
What
and
is
we never said that he was.
what is his job at HHS? This is somebody who gave parents the impression that he was a doctor and gave hormone blockers to children as young as 8, telling them that hormone blockers would somehow magically help their kids with autism.
His father is was
His father is a doctor, but he is not. And his father was
And
not
as
in
I
the
said,
room and did
but-
not, and he faked his father's signature according to the State Board of Medicine.
and that ruling was overturned by a court. So what you're saying is just wrong. It's just a lie. And they were actually, the court said that the Maryland Board of Physicians was guilty of actual malice in fabricating those charges against David Geyer.
Well, we will pursue this.
Yeah, so-
And I will submit for the record.
So do you want to know why we brought David Geyer in?
Sure.
Because it wasn't to run autism research. In 2002, the CDC runs a vaccine safety data link, which is supposed to be the vaccine information for the biggest HMOs that are supposed to allow CDC to have a surveillance system for vaccine injury. It's a backstop system. The CDC will not let any physicians in there to look at it or any scientists, independent scientists.
He's neither a scientist nor a physician.
Right. Congress ordered CDC to open it to the Geyers. So they are the only scientists who have ever been in there.
But again, Mr. Geyer is not a scientist. Thank you.
Independent scientists.
Okay, Senator Hessen's time's expired, but before we move on, did you have a unanimous consent request that I heard in there, Senator?
Senator Hawley, I did. A unanimous consent request for the printout of the website that shows Dr. Geyer is in, not Dr. Geyer, that's his father, Mr. Geyer, is employed, and also a unanimous consent request for the finding from the Board of Licensing in Maryland. Thank you.
Without objection to both
Thank
of
you.
those. And now, Mr. Kennedy, before we get to my time, do you want, if you'd like to finish your response, go ahead,
let
and
me
then
say that.
I'll recognize myself.
David Geyer is the only living independent scientist who's seen the VSD inside. There's been a lot of monkey business with the VSD, including allegations of fraud. And he was hired by an independent contractor not as an HHS employee, but by an independent contractor to look at the documents that we were getting to the VSD to see if they conformed with what he saw between 2002 and 2016. And that's the only reason that he was brought in, to see if there was, there's so much information that has disappeared from that database. The only way we could find out what information disappeared was because he was the one guy who saw it.
And just let the record show he's not a scientist. Thank you very much.